So how do we lie with statistics? Now, one of the things that probably comes to mind if it's been circulating through your social media or somewhere that you get information from is a picture of Bill Gates where he's got a couple books stacked up, and one of them on the top says How to Lie with Statistics, one of the books. And I find that fascinating, but I also feel for people who don't understand that you don't need to read a book to understand how to lie with statistics. It's very simple, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. Now, of course, you could use this for malicious intent. I hope you don't. I hope that you use it in a way that you can sift through things when you're reading articles or you're reading published papers and say, oh, okay, this makes sense, or this doesn't mean anything, or this is cool, or this is you know what I mean? Like, you can sift through and understand what's really going on, because that's what it's all about, is understanding. And again, I hope you don't use things for malicious intent. But one of the things I want to talk about before I get to my example is people don't like doing numbers. They don't like doing statistics. They don't like doing percentages. So if you already know that people don't like doing these things, when you give a number, when you say 25% of 5,000 people, right away people go, huh? And their brain shuts off and they just kind of go, oh, okay, cool, right? They trust you, right? Because you sound smart, and if people don't like numbers, they're not going to call you out on it, meaning they're not going to verify. Even if they have the information, they're not going to run the number. They're not going to go, wait, he said 25% of this, so that must mean it's going to be this much. How many people? And you said it was this many people? No, people's brains don't work like that. I'm a nerd. My brain works well with math. I don't enjoy doing math, but when I read something, it just comes to me, right? A chart pops up into my head and I go, wait, does that make sense? Does that have a correlation to it? What is the slope of that line? Yeah. All right, my brain does that because it's just been ingrained in me. So most people don't think like that. I would say the mass majority of people don't think like that. So that's one advantage. If you're going to give people statistics right off the bat, they're not going to verify it. Their brain is going to go into, oh, I just get to listen. It's story time. I just get to listen and see. Or, oh, that's pretty cool, right? But I want you to, next time you see a percentage, right, or a ratio or a number in an article or wherever, I want you to be skeptical, right? I want you to look at it and say, I wonder what they really mean here. I wonder where they're getting that from. I wonder, right? That's really what I want you to think about. So that's first off. People don't like doing numbers. Now, if I have the control of the article and I'm writing, I probably have an agenda. I probably have something that I'm trying to say. Now, the article in question that I was reading was talking about how being overweight or being obese doesn't mean that you can't be healthy. And I completely agree. You can be overweight, you can be obese, classifications, especially with BMI, and still be healthy. But it's very tough for people to get the other markers that the person's talking about. We're talking about health markers, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, right? There's all these different markers that we could find out about someone and say, hey, you're overweight, but yet you still have all these healthy markers. Go for it, bud. Most people don't have access to that. Most people can find access to a scale. Most people know how tall they are. So that's a way for us to use BMI and understand where people are. And I think the easier things are, the better things are. I don't like to overcomplicate things. And us in the health and fitness industry, we have to find ways of translating things easily so that people can see where they're at and see where they want to be. But I completely agree that you don't have to be in a certain BMI classification to be healthy. But I was reading about what they were mentioning about these health markers, and I found it very interesting because they said overweight individuals, 50% of them in the classification of overweight of BMI, right? 50% had normal, quote unquote, normal health markers. Okay, they were in the good, all right, or normal area. They also said that obese, all right, let's say it was 25 out of 75, obese individuals had 25%. So you could be obese and still 25%, you're going to be good in regard to your health marker. So don't just look at obese and say, oh, you're unhealthy, right? Because that might not be true. I completely agree. But if we look at this and we say, okay, well, this is a little chart, all right, or a little graph here, and we've got numbers wise, and we've got 25%, 50%, and then we come over to normal weight. And I thought it was interesting because in my head, I'm already doing this, right? I'm already doing this in my head. And then so they get to normal weight and they say, and she goes, and it was a she who wrote the article, I believe, all right? Again, I'm not going to give any names or articles here, but they came to normal weight. Instead of using 25%, 50%, they didn't use a percentage. They used a ratio. So they switched it on you right away. So they went 25%, 50%, and then they said 1/4 of people who are normal weight had unhealthy markers. So you take a step back and you go, okay, wait, 25%, I'm even doing the chart in my head, 25, 50, and then we go 25. But wait, this is percentage of normal health markers. What did she say? It was 1/4, which is 25%. So some people aren't even going to do that math right off the bat, right? They're not going to do that. But it's not 25% of normal markers. 25% of unhealthy markers. So wait, that's 75% of healthy, of normal. Okay? So it's not down here, which would kind of make things seem similar, right? And that was the point, right? That was what she was trying to get across in the article, and that was the big takeaway. If you're reading that article, you say 25%, 50%, 25%, they're all in around that same number, right? So what's the benefit of being obese or normal weight or overweight, all right? When you can be healthy, right? Of being any of them. So right there is deception, right? Using numbers. And they confused you by going percent ratio. So like I said, if you don't do the math of the ratio, let's just say you do the math but you do it wrong. Now you're really screwed. But if you know that 1/4 is 25%, but then you have to subtract the 25% from the 100, right? There's a lot of chances for things to go wrong. But look at this now, right? So now we take that and we go, okay, well, 75% of the normal weight individuals have the normal health markers, right? And you look at this, and if I draw a line through, right, it looks pretty correlated, meaning as I get more overweight, obese, morbidly obese, my percentage of normal health markers drops. She could have just said that in the article. She could have just said, as you go from normal weight to overweight to obese to morbidly obese, you are going to decrease the amount of normal health markers in your body. But that's not what she said. She used statistics to try to say you can be obese and be overweight, which is true. You can use truth in statistics, but the overall point is deceiving. Do you see where I'm going with this? So there's many ways of going about this, but the correlation that my brain did when I saw that, I said, well, wouldn't you want to get closer to this 100% number, not closer to the 0%? If you're talking about health, right? So that correlation, that almost one-to-one correlation, and if we plugged in the numbers for the BMI, it would look the exact same. It's like, I'm not just doing this and saying, oh, I'm just going to space these out. But that percentage marker is very correlated. And this article, this video is not me trying to say, don't be obese. I can care less about what you're doing, all right? What I'm trying to say is, in this specific example, this person used statistics to lie, to say it's okay to be in these classifications, which there is a percentage that is normal and is okay. But in the grand scheme of things, the correlation is so direct that the advice would be, especially from a health professional or someone that's advocating health, you got to look at this correlation and say, what does that mean for me? Where do I stand in this lineup? Okay? Doesn't mean that everyone who's normal weight is 100% healthy. Obviously not. We still have 25%. But that's not the point. Okay? The point is, she was using statistics in a way to justify certain things, and in reality, it's a direct correlation. So I hope when you're reading things, you're either doing the math or being skeptical about what someone is trying to say about whatever it is they're trying to say. What is their takeaway? right? But what are they using to give you that takeaway? Okay, everyone has an agenda. Everyone wants you to go along with what they're saying. Does it make sense, or is it just right? It's just you just using numbers in a way to try to spew propaganda or whatever it might be, whatever their cause is. All right, you can use that word propaganda as a way of just being motivated by themselves, right? Not propaganda on the grand scale of governments and things like that. So I hope you got a little bit out of this, because it's a lot easier than you think to lie with statistics. Even just throw a stat out there, and most of the time people will believe you. So that's your stats for today. Hope your brain didn't explode with math. Hope I was able to explain a little bit on how articles can lead you astray. So go through things with a fine-tooth comb. Be a little bit more skeptical. Have that sense of wonder, or I wonder about what's going on. Thank you.